Welcome to the Nerd on Nerd Christmas special with me, Jack Kempster.
And me, Liam Underwood.
How are you, Liam?
Ho, ho, ho. I am fantastic. How are you?
I'm fine.
Are you looking forward to the Christmas season?
I love Christmas. I can't help but notice that you're being quite Christmassy.
I'm trying to get into the spirit of things because I'm normally a bit grinchy around this time of year.
But this year you're really trying.
I figured why not?
Yeah, it's a good attitude to have.
And that could lead us quite nicely into my favourite segment, catching up with Jack and Liam. So Jack, how have you been getting into the festive spirit this year?
Well, I don't know if you're aware of this, Liam, but I attended a Christmas party.
Oh, was it a work Christmas party?
No, it wasn't. It was with some old uni friends, in fact.
Oh, that sounds delightful.
It was your Christmas party, Liam.
That's right, I invited you and you came.
Yes, as opposed to you inviting me and me coming up with an awkward excuse and just not showing up.
Yeah, exactly, which, you know, that never happens.
No one does that.
No. Do you have a work Christmas party?
Yeah, there is one, but I've always wanted to go, but I feel like it'll be too fancy and I won't look right.
Sorry, what do you mean you won't look right?
You've seen me. You know what I look like.
Well, you've got the beard.
Especially now, the beard is very homeless.
I feel like, though, bearded men dressed up nicely in, like, suits is a pretty hot look.
Yeah, but I don't. Your picture. I know what you're picturing. I can see the like person that you're thinking of, and if you actually put me like that, it doesn't work.
The reason why it doesn't work is because I picture you in a suit that doesn't fit.
I think the only suit I own doesn't fit.
Is it too baggy or too tight?
I believe it's too baggy.
That's how I was picturing it.
At this point, it might be too tight.
Oh, as the old mince pies started adding up.
Exactly. I feel like it might be a horrible mix of both. Like, it might be a little bit too short in some places, but, like, way too wide on, like, the shoulders.
Oh, I so want to see you wearing this suit now.
I wore it once at uni. I'm sure you might have seen it.
I probably didn't.
You didn't, no.
No, that's a shame. I missed out.
You did. But yeah, Christmas party at yours.
Yeah, how was that?
It was pretty good. How did you find hosting it?
I'm going to be honest, I've never hosted for 6 people before.
It was quite obvious.
Was it?
No, I just wanted to make you feel awkward.
Yeah, I feel like I did a decent job, considering, if we think about it, maybe just over a year ago, the most I could do in the kitchen was microwave.
Yes, no, it was very impressive. You managed to make 2 courses?
Yeah.
You maybe overdid it a tad on the first course?
Do you think the cheese was a bit too much?
I think there was too much cheese. I think you could have had... So basically we had I don't know, what was the type of cheese? It was a...
Oh.
Camembert.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a camembert, and it was a whole, a solid lump of cheese, which, interestingly, you hadn't bought any dips for.
I fixed that.
You did, but only after, I believe, your girlfriend forced you to fix it.
Whatever, I fixed it, and we had a bit of salad on the side, don't forget, for those of us that ate the salad.
Yeah, well, it's just leaves, mate.
Yeah, no, of course. I think the issue wasn't so much the starter was too big, it was there could have been more time between the starter and the main.
Yeah.
And I'm going to blame Phil for showing up late and screwing up my timing.
All you did was shift it back like an hour.
I must have done it wrong. But, you know, live and learn. And the other thing that went wrong, for our listeners, is the carrots.
Those carrots would default. There was something really wrong with them.
Yeah, they shouldn't have gone in the top of the steamer. They should have gone in the bottom, and the cabbage should have gone at the top. Because I figured what I was doing, I put things in steamer dependent on how long it took. So the things that took the least amount of time at the top, and those that took the most amount of time at the bottom, what I should have done is by weight. Yeah. So the bigger things at the bottom, and then the leafy cabbage at the top.
Because those carrots, they didn't cook right. That was the issue.
They did not cook right, and I would like to point out, it was not my suggestion to put them in the microwave, which really just made a bad situation worse.
Yeah, it did. They went in the microwave and then came out and sort of... Some of them seemed to be a little bit, like, soggy, and the rest were, like, solid.
I heard them described as looking like E.T. when he was dying.
Yes, that is 100% what they look like.
Yeah, but that was the only thing that didn't go great. We had broccoli, Brussels, cabbage, stuffing. I like that the first things you listed there were the things that I don't like. So you're like, the good things were this. Yeah, we had roast potatoes, Yorkshires, and turkey, which I'm actually surprised the turkey came out as well as it did.
The turkey was really good, yeah.
And I think no one got food poisoning, so I'm considering that a resounding success.
Yeah, no, fair point. I didn't hear anyone complain afterwards of dodgy stomachs or anything.
No, exactly. And we had a delightful Christmas playlist to listen to.
Thanks, Liam.
I will admit, I didn't know most of the songs.
But that's the point. Everyone knows all... Like, I had all the classics on there.
I just didn't get to hear them.
It's because, to be fair, you disappeared out to the kitchen, as you had to.
Yeah, that was the worst bit about hosting.
Yeah, is you miss a lot of the... Because, there was me, Nick and Phil were all chatting in the living room.
Yeah, thanks for coming out and keeping me company in the kitchen,
I
chatting
was
like we discussed
Nick and
previous.
Phil.
Did we not discuss the night before that all the boys should be in the kitchen and we were going to do this really hilarious gender role reversal thing?
Yeah, but then I was, hungover and stuff.
I don't know how you got hungover.
I don't think it was a hangover. I think I was... I'm starting to think I might have, an aversion to alcohol.
That's not good.
No, I know. It's never expressed itself particularly before, but I'm starting to think I might have one.
It is one of those things that I think as you get old, you do develop.
Yeah, but the amount we drank was not very much.
It really, we shared, one bottle of Jack Daniels between us?
Yeah, and we drank it, fairly slowly.
Yeah, exactly, because we were, on blab until 6 a.m.
Jesus, yeah.
Which was fun.
That was actually quite fun, yeah.
And if we do any future blabs, our listeners can check our Twitter for that information.
Nice self-plug, Liam.
Someone's got to do it.
So what else have you been up to, Liam?
Right, I had possibly the most middle-class experience today.
Okay.
Now, I don't want to alienate any of our listeners.
Are you worried that you're going to be too posh for them? They're all going to turn away from upper-class Liam.
I don't want to seem like I'm unrelatable to our listeners.
Right.
But I do get a cleaner come in once every 2 weeks. And let me explain why. It's very obvious. One, not as expensive as you think it is. And two, they can do twice as good a job as me in half the time it would take me.
Yeah. You say, but then you say not as expensive as you think.
Yeah.
But do you know what's cheaper than that? Me doing it myself.
Yeah, but would you?
No.
Exactly. So here's my options. I do it myself, in which case it builds up to such a state that it's going to take me all day to do it because I'm not very good at tidying up after myself. I'd say I'm a little bit of a slob. Not massively, but a little bit.
Yeah, I am as well.
Yeah. So I either have to spend 1 day a month pretty much just cleaning everything, or twice a month, get a little cleaner in, 2 hours, and they just make everything manageable for me. They don't they don't clean everything, but they get me to a stage where I can look after myself.
What's the limit on what a cleaner will clean? What don't they clean?
I honestly don't know, to be honest. I think at least my cleaner seems pretty much up for anything. But is there a limit? I'm sure there is. I think if I smeared shit up the walls, she might say no to that.
Yeah, and to be fair, you'd understand, I think.
I would, but luckily I'm not that strange.
You're not a monster, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you are a monster, but just not.
Not in that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so, it's not like I'm demanding that she cleans up all my mess. And I generally have a little, pre-tidy up before she gets here. So I have a little game I like to play in my front room where blow my nose on a tissue, crunch it up, try and launch it in the bin down the other side of the room.
I've seen you play that game.
If I miss, I don't just make the cleaner go around tidying up my snotty tissues. Before she gets here, I'll put them in the bin for her, which she then empties.
You're so generous.
Yeah, it's the little things, I think, that she appreciates. But anyway, I don't want to be unrelatable to our listeners. It's just this is one of the things that I have to do to survive.
Right.
Simple as that. And today, she came in for a clean, and I had a little moment where I was like, wait a second, Christmas is coming. Do I give her a Christmas tip? Right,
now the answer, before you carry on with the story, the answer I would give to that is of course you do. I would give her that tip. I'd be like, yep, 100%, it's Christmas, here's your tip. What did you do, Liam?
I did give her the tip. I phoned my mum to make sure that's what I should do.
Nice, of course.
She said, yeah. But how much of a tip should you give? Because there's so many things going through my mind, because I'm always awkward at the pay-in bit anyway, because it's an awkward number I have to pay her, and we've had, what should we say, we've had a maybe passive-aggressive exchange in the past, where I normally ask for change from her, because I pay her in notes. Again, I'm not unrelatable, I'm like one of you, dear listeners.
You actually have actual cash.
Yeah, I have to pay her in actual cash, and obviously I really very rarely use actual cash, so normally...
Oh, I was trying to help you there by making you seem relatable by having actual cash on you, but...
No.
Cool.
normally, when she's here, I'm like, oh damn, I need cash. Because most things I just pay on card these days. Like, in my day-to-day life, I maybe go to Tesco's and that's where I'll spend money, and I'll just use my card.
Yeah.
Other supermarkets are available.
Nice. Yeah, I only get cash out if I'm going drinking.
Like, out drinking? Yeah. And I very rarely do that, to be honest.
Yeah, fair enough.
So, normally when she gets it, I have to go out and get the cash out. So I'll get some notes, and then I'll need change. Obviously, this has happened several times, and I've built up a little collection of change. But still, when she's like, do you need change? I say yes. So, the last time she came, all of my coins were stacked very neatly in little piles on my coffee table. I think she was trying to make a point.
See, but I think you're reading into that too much. I don't think it was a passive aggressive thing. I think she was just genuinely like, oh, Liam doesn't realise he has all this change. I'm just gonna politely do it. I'm not gonna make a big deal out of it. I'll just put him in a little pile. That way he can actually see how much change he has. Because I know how easy it is to have a pile of coins, Liam, and you're like, I've not got anything. And then you look through it and you're like, Jesus.
I found some euros in my pile, and I don't know where they came from.
Well, have you been to Europe?
I went to Italy.
There we go then.
But that was a while ago.
Solved.
That mystery. Tick.
Jesus.
We'll put you in the mystery machine. Wait, we'll put you in the mystery machine and solve some mysteries. Get you some Scooby snacks.
But so was that so you ended up how much did you tip her?
I don't want to say. All I'll say.
Okay, well yeah, that's fair.
Is
you raised the damn question.
All I'll say is this time when she asked for change, I went, keep it and get yourself a little drink for Christmas.
Okay, let me just do the maths in my head because I know what that is. See, now what I would have said,
yeah,
right, is that what you should have done is given her twice as much as you usually do.
Wait, what?
Yeah, so her usual rate.
Yeah.
You give her an extra one of those rates.
Yeah.
And you say, that's for looking after me. I can't live by myself. Please love me.
I feel like the relationship I have with my cleaner is very different to how you're imagining it.
I picture that she comes in, like, sort of gives you a quick wipe, changes the diaper.
Burps me.
I ate too much.
Then it's feeding time.
Yeah.
Can you burp yourself? Because I've discovered that I can.
Sorry, what? Right, when someone burps a baby, that's them getting it to throw up, Liam.
No, like...
Isn't it? Or unless I'm
no,
wrong.
I think that's just... They've got trapped wind and they do a little burp. So, if you know sometimes when you can feel the trapped wind, like in your tummy or in your chest...
Please don't call it your tummy.
What would you prefer I call it?
Stomach.
Right, okay. If you have trapped wind in your stomach or your lung capacity...
Yeah.
Do you kind of... Have you got a method for getting that out?
Yeah, I just sort of burp.
See, I found if I kind of sit in a chair, but then like bounce my top half, I can kind of burp myself.
I love this show, Liam, because it lets the world see what I've had to deal with for 3 years, 5 years, 6 years.
It's been a wild ride.
It has. I learn such horrifying, depressing facts about you.
And I love this show because it lets me get a scary insight into what happens inside your mind.
That's true, we are both just broken.
Oh, and I think this show is a very nice way for us to come together and accept, maybe even embrace each other's brokenness.
Do we?
Good question.
We haven't got to that bit yet.
Maybe that's for our listeners to do.
Yeah, they have to accept how broken we are.
Or they stop listening.
That one. They might do that one.
Please don't stop listening.
We love you.
I love you the most.
Merry Christmas, John. Happy Christmas, Yoko.
What?
I was doing, that's the equivalent of this week's beep.
Right. Cut that. So, Star Wars, it's very nearly upon us. Are you excited?
I'm massively excited, and I'm still stupidly not the owner of tickets to the goddamn thing.
So, my birthday's coming up.
Yep.
It should be, if all goes to plan, it should be the day this podcast comes out. So if you're listening on the day of release, first, thanks for your loyalty. You're one of our most valued listeners. Although listeners that do listen at a later date, we do like you too. But come on, get your act together.
Yeah, that's fair.
Second, if you want to wish me a happy birthday, my Twitter is @LiamUnderwood. You don't have to. Would be nice. And what I've decided to do for my birthday this year is go and see Star Wars.
Yeah, that's a really good. self-present.
Yeah, I'm also, some friends are coming, so it's not like just me going by myself, which I would have done if they didn't want to come, to be honest.
Yeah.
Obviously, so my birthday's a Monday. People are working on the Monday, unfortunately. So I've decided to do it the day before, on the Sunday. The slight issue, when I booked the tickets, I maybe got overexcited. I booked them as soon as they were available, and I did book them for the release day without realising until about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. That's a pretty big mistake.
Yeah, one of my friends asked me what time it was, so I looked up my ticket confirmation, thought, hang on, that's not the right date. That also explains why the tickets were cheaper than I was expecting, since the cinema tends to be more expensive on the weekend.
Yep.
Yeah. Luckily, there were still some seats available for the Sunday, so I don't see why you're struggling to find tickets, and you're in London.
Now, see, the issue you've got there is you're picturing me sort of, feverishly searching for tickets.
That's what I'd be doing.
I am so lazy that even seeing something I really want to see, I can't put in the effort to find. I've not even opened up the website to check.
But
I don't,
Star
Liam,
Wars.
I don't understand it either. It's my favourite film of all time.
Is it?
Yeah, Star Wars Episode 5.
Empire.
Yeah.
It's a good choice. Why is that your favourite?
Just is. It's got cool stuff in it, Liam. I don't know, it always seems like it's the best out of the original trilogy.
I mean, I would agree.
I mean, New Hope is like the start of the series, and it was originally going to be that one movie, so it's got that kind of feel to it.
It has a very definitive beginning, middle and end, and
Yeah.
everything's resolved by the end pretty much.
Exactly. And then Jedi has Ewoks in it.
Ewoks
so
are cool.
5's the best one. Ewoks are not cool.
How are Ewoks not cool?
Liam, they defeat the Empire.
Warwick Davis is an Ewok.
Young Warwick Davis is an Ewok.
I'm sure he could still fit in the costume.
That was not what I was saying. It wasn't a height issue.
So why was it an age issue?
No, I'm saying that you can't. It's not the same. It's like, I don't know. He was like really young. He was like a child, right?
I think he was in his teens.
Oh, was he?
I might be wrong. I'm sure he was though.
Maybe we cut out this whole bit about us not knowing his age.
No, it's fine. I'm pretty sure he was in his teens.
All right, he was in his teens. But like, you can't use that to validate an entire. You can't like something just because someone you like has played it.
You sort of can.
I love Nick Cage, but I didn't really like Wicker Man.
I haven't seen that, but I have heard nothing good about it.
Yeah, no, it's not good.
There are definitely some movies that I'm more favourable towards because they star someone I like.
Yeah, that's, I guess. But no, but I'm saying that the Ewoks don't get fixed just because Warwick Davis played one. And he doesn't have any lines. It's not like you get to see Warwick Davis particularly do anything.
No, but I know he's there.
Right, well that's a terrible reason to like a film.
I get what they were trying to do with the Ewoks, but it's like it was
They
showing
were trying
that
to sell toys.
That, and also they were trying to kind of show that the Empire could overlook something like the Ewoks, and then together they could join and help the rebellion.
That's a fair point, except for one issue. They already had that with the rebellion, which the Empire had been overlooking, and then they blew up a Death Star, and the Empire were like, right, we actually need to deal with this.
Yeah, but then they overlooked the Ewoks.
Yeah, they didn't need to make that point twice.
It didn't hurt. I really like the land speeder scenes on Endor.
Yes, they're good. I'm not saying those scenes are bad. I'm saying the Ewoks, specifically the Ewoks.
I just don't understand your
I
hatred
love that
for
movie.
Ewoks.
I love that whole movie. I just really don't like Ewoks.
To me, that is bizarre.
I don't understand how you can like them.
It's not like they're Jar Jar Binks.
They're on a similar level.
Oh,
They are.
Watch yourself.
They're the Jar Jar Binks of the original trilogy.
I think you're too jaded to be saying that, because if you think about it, Ewoks were for us at the age we watched those movies. And I get, if you watched the first Star Wars, maybe as you were a late teenager, and then by the time Jedi comes out, you might be a bit like, oh my god, my beloved franchise is being taken over by children loving these little forest-dwelling bears. What's happening? I'm such a nerd and they're encroaching on my nerd domain.
I thought you were trying to insult me.
No, I'm not trying to insult you. I'm trying to insult the people who would initially hate the Ewoks. I don't understand how you fit into that category.
Right, okay. So, yeah, because here's my point then, is that I liked the Ewoks when I was a kid, and I liked Jar Jar when I was a kid, because Episode 1 came out when I was a kid, and I've grown to hate them because, I don't know, as I got older and rewatched Star Wars, it became, like, all the flaws with Jar Jar and the Ewoks become more apparent.
Well,
like, as a kid, you're like, Jar Jar is hilarious.
No.
He puts his time... Yeah, but you're, like, 6 years older than me.
Still, it came out in 99. I was 12.
Yeah, and I was 8. That's a big difference. In those years, the difference between 8 and 12 is huge.
It's 4 years.
Yeah, but like I'm talking about when you're that age.
But you just said I was 6 years older than you.
You're only 4.
Yeah.
Wow. It's just you feel so much older, Liam.
That's called maturity.
No, it's not that.
Right, you don't like the Ewoks. We'll just have to deal with that.
Yeah, they're going to do it. I bet they do it again in the third of this trilogy. That'll be something I hate.
I hope so. And something that I love. So, with this, with the new Star Wars...
Yeah.
We've also been getting a lot of new trailers, which I believe they're going to be showing before the Star Wars, but they've kind of leaked them onto the internet.
Yeah, I wonder why they've done that if everyone's going to see them in Star Wars anyway.
Maybe it's to kind of build up the hype for Star Wars. It's like, oh, I like this trailer. Can't wait to see it on the big screen. Like, I think it was Star Wars Episode 1. They put that trailer in front of a movie, obviously back when it was coming out, and people were buying tickets to go see the movie and then walking out once they'd seen the trailer.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's quite impressive.
Yeah. I mean, I think Star Wars is going to do well. I don't think they need to bother with trailers, to be honest.
No.
But I am excited to see some of the trailers. Now, I believe Batman vs Superman is one of the trailers they're going to be showing, but we've discussed that.
Yeah, we've discussed.
And 2 of the other trailers. First, Star Trek.
Yeah.
Is it The Beyond it's called?
It's called, Star Trek Beyond.
Star Trek Beyond, right. Now, I haven't seen Into Darkness.
Ah, right, yeah, I'd forgotten that.
Yeah, I've got it, I'm not fussed about seeing it.
You need to watch it, it's good. I like this new Star Trek universe.
I didn't mind the first one. I thought it was kind of cool the way they established their own timeline.
Yeah.
Didn't mind that. I don't know. So, my concern with Beyond is it's being written by Simon Pegg.
Oh, is it written by him?
Or co-written. Someone started writing it, and then...
Now that you're saying it, I remember that he is some part of the writing process.
Yeah, and I liked Simon Pegg. Always going to be a fan of Spaced. Always going to be a fan of Shaun of the Dead. Hot Fuzz, not bad. I haven't liked him lately.
Yeah, but is that because of the roles he's had?
I don't know if it's the roles he's had, if it's just him. I honestly, I feel like something's changed with him. Now that he's schmoozing with Tom Cruise and old JJ, I get the impression, and I might be wrong, I get the impression he feels like he's above where he started from now.
I don't know. I don't know if I'd agree with that.
That's just how he comes across to me in interviews and stuff.
Maybe. I guess I haven't seen many interviews with him, like, recently.
Yeah, and I don't know if you saw the newest Mission Impossible film.
I haven't, no.
Right. In those films, Simon Pegg is the comic relief, and he works best used sparingly. But for some reason, they've decided, actually, let's kind of make him a co-star to Tom Cruise, put him in it a lot more, and it is not good.
Yeah, but I don't know. We don't know that that's him.
No, it might not necessarily be him. The thing is, Simon Pegg is not an action star. And when I watched that Star Trek The Beyond, or Star Trek Beyond, whatever the fucking trailer's called, there's Simon Pegg jumping around, falling off cliffs and shit. And
yeah, but he's
not an
bit
action
that you're
star.
Talking about is not an action bit. Even from the trailer, it's clear that that's going to be played for laughs.
I don't like it.
The way he falls off is deliberately comical.
Didn't like it.
See, I think you're just getting I think you're being jaded about this, and you're letting your opinions of Simon Pegg, which could or could not be incorrect, we don't know. You're letting that jade your view of it, and just because you've seen the last Mission Impossible, and you're like, oh, he's in it too much. I don't think they're going to overuse him in Star Trek.
I really hope not. The thing is, I would love it if Simon Pegg comes back swinging strong. I want to like him. I just haven't seen anything in maybe the last 5 years from him that I did like.
Well, I think he's going to be fine. I like Simon Pegg.
Because my other concern is obviously if he's now writing it, is he going to beef up his role, or is he going to do that typical thing where that's a bit too obvious? So if anything, he's going to minimise his role. I think he's got a very hard job in pulling that off without looking a little bit up himself.
You say that, but that sort of implies that that sort of implies that Simon Pegg has not been writing stuff for most of his career. But he wrote Spaced, and he helped write Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead. Or did he write them? I don't know, I might have made that up.
I believe he co-wrote them with Edgar Wright.
That's what I thought. But, so he's been doing it. He knows how to write. I don't think he's going to suddenly change his writing style to make his character more important.
But, okay, do you think he knows how to write a Star Trek film? Because there's a big difference.
I have absolutely no idea, and I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Well, I'm going to reserve judgment. For me, probably not a cinema trip, because I probably won't have watched Into Darkness by then. And you know me, I like to do my things in order.
Yeah, to a fault.
To a fault. So I can't watch Into Darkness until I finish watching Star Trek the original series, so I can watch those movies. I also need to watch The Next Generation to tie into those. Have I?
Because you've seen the first Star Trek film.
By accident.
What do you mean, by accident?
Odeon were doing a mystery screening where you paid like a very cheap amount for a ticket, but they didn't tell you what the film was until you were in there, and it turned out to be Star Trek.
So you accidentally watched the Star Trek movie?
Yeah.
Jeez, I hate your need to watch everything in order.
It's disturbing.
Yeah, it's a problem.
Oh, it's not the best.
No.
But hey, we embrace our thoughts on this podcast.
Yeah, oh yeah, I forgot we were doing that. It's also Christmas, so...
Exactly, so ho ho ho. Merry Christmas, everyone.
I love your need to watch every film in order, Liam. It's so good.
And I love your beard.
Thanks, buddy.
And your suit.
My ill-fitting suit.
Yes, I think on anyone else it would look ridiculous, but on you kind of pull it off.
Nice failed insult.
What?
Most people would look stupid with what you've got.
But you make it work.
Alright, so the other trailer the other one we're going to talk about that got released is the Independence Day Resurgence trailer.
Did you like the first Independence Day?
Yeah. Again, though, when did that come out? That's got to be like 2000 and something.
Late 90s.
Was it late 90s?
If not mid-90s.
I think I probably watched it in the 2000s.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because I probably was too young.
You were probably still in your diapers when it came out.
Yeah, when I'm like 8, I feel like I wasn't, into the aliens destroying the world thing.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you thought you weren't in your diapers still.
I was still in my diapers at 10, Liam.
It was 96 it came out.
So yeah, I would have been 5, so I probably wasn't watching Independence Day.
No.
But when I did eventually watch it, I really liked it.
It's good. Will Smith is great in it.
Will Smith's great in it. Jeff Goldblum's great in it.
Yep.
The other guy who flies into the ship at the end.
The old guy.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know his name.
Oh god, he's really famous.
Well, you should know his name then.
Yeah. Oh well. Yeah, they're all really good in it.
Yeah, and Bill Pullman is probably one of the best on-screen presidents I've ever seen.
Yes, he does really well in that film as well.
Right. With the second movie, what I'm more looking forward to, and I think I'm possibly going to be on my own with this, because I think most people just want to see aliens come and all of the CGI battles and whatnot. But I'm really looking forward to seeing a world 20 years on that survived through that, because obviously the big point of Independence Day was it's no longer going to be an American holiday. This is when the world comes together to face this bigger threat.
Seems like the point of this second movie is also going to be.
Exactly, but I want to see what an event like that has done to the world. Has it reduced war? Is there more cooperation between countries? For me, that's what I'm most curious to see.
Yeah, to be fair, that's one of the things I really like about the trailer is the bit where you see when they're saying we've used the aliens' technology and you see them flying planes, but the planes are doing the alien craft sort of hovering thing.
Yeah.
I think that was cool. And then you see lasers and shit, which I was like, that's pretty badass. Lasers are always good.
To me, it did feel a little bit Star Warsy, the flying stuff.
Yes, they're probably trying to cash in on that a little bit.
Yeah. So Liam Hemsworth is, I think, I guess, taken on the Will Smith role. I mean, obviously, not the same character, but that...
Yeah, that would be really awkward if they tried to do that.
Yeah. He's the soldier guy.
Yeah.
As opposed to Jeff Goldblum's smart guy.
Yeah.
Now, I've only really seen Liam Hemsworth in The Hunger Games.
Does he play the love interest?
One of them, yeah.
Okay.
I prefer Chris.
Which one's Chris? I'm so confused.
Chris Hemsworth, Thor.
Oh, right, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, so...
I don't know, out of nowhere you suddenly said, I like Chris. And I was like, who the fuck is Chris?
Chris Hemsworth. So, I immediately feel like we're getting a little shortchanged and that we're getting not the best Hemsworth brother.
Yeah, I guess.
But that's okay. Maika Monroe's in it. Now, she, over the last year, has done some fantastic work. I don't know if you've seen The Guest.
Nope, I haven't.
Don't know if you've seen It Follows.
I haven't.
She's in both of those, and she is a highlight.
Yeah.
She is definitely one to watch.
Okay.
Joey King's also in it.
Who's that?
Adorable girl. I only know her from the Taylor Swift Mean music video.
It's really weird that that's the thing you know an actor from. Actress, actor.
Why is that weird?
Because, I don't know, it's like you're paying far too much attention to Taylor Swift's music videos.
And you don't?
No, I do. I just don't know all the actors in it and actresses.
It's because when I watched that music video, I saw her and I was like, I think I recognise you. So I looked her up, and I think she was in a movie that I had seen, but she just had a very minor role.
Right.
But she has quite a distinctive face. What's weird is that in the main video, she's brunette, and in the Independence Day trailer, she's blonde, yet I still managed to recognise her.
Yeah, that is disturbing.
And she's also aged by about 5+ years.
Yeah, that's super creepy.
It's not creepy.
It is. It's very, like, stalkerish, I'd say.
It's just she has a distinctive face.
Oh, okay. I'll let the listeners judge that one.
Well, I feel like you're trying to turn them against me in a way that is more my trademark.
I am not doing anything of the sort, sir. It's the Christmas episode. I would never sink to such levels.
Exactly. We should all be sat around a fireplace enjoying cocoa and milk and mince pies.
Is that what you do at Christmas?
Probably.
Okay.
Don't you?
I don't drink milk.
No, Santa does.
Yeah, I'm not Santa.
Oh, I'm sorry. So I guess Santa celebrates Christmas wrong now because Jack Kempster doesn't drink milk. So what's
No, he's got his
Santa
own
thinking
plans.
of? What?
He's a busy man, Liam. He's got to fly around the fucking world.
He manages.
Yeah, I'm just saying, he doesn't celebrate Christmas the same way we do.
I imagine it's a lot more stressful for him.
Yeah, 100%.
Nah, never mind. I mean, he wanted the job. So, back to Independence Day. Also has William Fincher in the trailer.
Which one's he?
Fichter, William Fichter. I don't know how you say his name, and I don't want to be called a myopic imperialistic douchebag.
Yeah.
William Fichter, I think.
Which one's he?
He's the dude that looks a bit like a lizard.
Okay.
Look him up.
William Fitcher.
Yeah, Fichtner, Fitchner.
Okay. Images. Oh, I know who he is. Yeah.
Yeah, he's in loads of stuff. He was even in The Dark Knight.
Yes.
In the opening scene in the bank, he's the one that tries to stop the Joker, and I think he gets like a grenade or something put in his mouth or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah, he's in loads of it. I first noticed him in the second season of Prison Break.
Oh, okay.
He's great in that, and then it's always a delight when you just see him pop up in movies. He's also in Armageddon, so he is not new to space.
Is that how it works?
Yep.
Oh, fair enough.
Did you not know that?
No. Once you're in a space movie, you're then experienced in space.
Yeah.
Oh, fair enough.
If the aliens come, I'm straight on the blower to Ben Affleck.
Oh, good.
If he doesn't answer, Will Smith.
Yeah.
If not, definitely Tom Hanks.
What alien films is Tom Hanks in?
Well, not an alien film, but Apollo 13.
You said if aliens come.
He'll know what to do. It's Tom Hanks.
Isn't Apollo 13 about the one that, like, they have to, like, slingshot around the moon?
Well, it's the one where they have a problem, yeah.
So it's not even, like, he would be helpful if you were in a spaceship that was going off course.
Yeah.
So not at all helpful if aliens invaded.
Look, it's Tom Hanks. He'll know what to do.
It'd be comforting. I'd like to have him there if I was going to, like, get killed by aliens.
Yeah, I'd call him anyway.
All right.
At a real push, Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I'd also ring Zac Efron just to see if he wanted to come over.
Well, yeah, you've got a weird love affair with Zac Efron.
He is a dream.
Yes,
boat.
we know your opinion on Zac Efron, Liam.
Can we talk about one other trailer which isn't in front of Star Wars? The Nice Guys.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Cool. Done. Moving on.
I was wondering what you were going to say, so I sort of left it open.
I just wanted your thoughts on it.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely going to go see it at the cinema.
Yeah, Ryan Gosling, another dreamboat. I often struggle to think which one I'd rather sleep with between him and Zac Efron. It's a close fight.
That's weird, because I always struggle between Russell Crowe and Tom Hanks.
Oh, it's got to be Tom Hanks every time.
I don't know, Russell Crowe.
I think Russell Crowe's the sort of guy that would donkey punch you.
No, you've seen Gladiator, right?
Yeah.
That man would, if I was in love with Russell Crowe, and then I was murdered, I would feel safe knowing he would seek vengeance.
But that doesn't necessarily make him a tender lover.
I'm sure he was a tender lover, Liam.
I'm not convinced. Sorry, I can't get over you. Sorry, Russell Crowe over Tom Hanks.
No, I'm just wondering. I've got no fucking idea.
If you had to sleep with a guy, right, and it's you sleeping with them, if you get my drift.
Yeah.
Who would you choose?
Wait, so when you said... Wait, I don't get your drift. Which am I on... Wait, I can't remember what order it is. Am I on top or on bottom?
You're the one that would be on top.
But that also... Now I'm picturing... Now there's two ways I could be facing if I'm on top, Liam. Which
Right.
way am I facing?
Forward.
What do you mean forward? Up or down?
Wait, what?
If, of course I'm facing forward. I'd always be facing forward, because no matter where I turn, Liam, I am facing forward.
You're the one... Right, how do we put this delicately?
Why are we being delicate? We're an explicit podcast.
Okay, you're the one that's giving them the old ho-ho-ho.
Is my penis in their bottom?
You're filling their stocking with your coal.
Okay, good. Right, then it would probably be, I don't know, Hugh Jackman seems he's pretty popular, right?
I mean, I don't think you should do it based on their popularity. You should do it based on how attracted you
I
are
want to
to
get
them.
something out of the relationship.
Well, what would you get out of Hugh Jackman?
Fame!
Oh, okay.
And the tender embrace of an Australian.
I do think he would be quite tender.
Yeah, 100%.
And also, if you get into like a bar fight, I think he'd stick up for you.
Yeah, I think he would.
He's fucking
Whereas
Wolverine.
you assumedly it would be Zac Efron.
The thing with Zac Efron is I think every part of him's probably shaved.
You've put too much thought into this.
Every night.
It's terrifying.
Right.
Move on.
What my culture. So this week, for our Christmas special of Nerd on Nerd, I gave you what I would consider a delightfully festive film.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh,
Christmas
okay.
Evil.
Yeah. Now, after last week's little fiasco that we had with Swap My Culture, in which I accidentally took far too many notes,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
and we ended up, maybe I went on a little bit too long, some would say.
I think some did say.
Yeah, they did. I was definitely contacted by Sam, who requires me to name drop him this episode.
Oh, okay. Contractual obligation
Yep.
there. Hi, Sam. Thanks for listening.
We love you, Sam, and Tom, and Kat,
And Mark.
and Mark.
Can we not get into the habit of naming all of our listeners? Because if we ever do get super big, we're going to have hours of just reading out names.
Yeah, which I am totally fine with.
I'm not, so...
I think we should do a special where we read out everyone's names.
Maybe once we get to like 1,000 listeners. No, that's too many. 100.
That was too many.
100.
Alright, so this week I took a lot less notes.
Okay,
But I still took notes.
I hope that because you took less, that didn't diminish their quality at all.
No, I don't think it has.
Okay, because I like listening to your notes.
Yeah,
when
you like
they're not
seeing the
long.
way my brain works as I watch these things.
Yeah.
And I think I've managed to capture that essence this week.
Okay.
So, right.
Can we do a brief plot synopsis before you jump into your notes?
Yes,
Just in
okay.
case... I think Christmas Evil is one of those movies that everyone probably watches around this time of year.
I feel like the majority of people won't know what this film is.
Yeah, well, we gave them a good 2 weeks to find it and watch it.
That's true, we did.
But they probably haven't.
And if they haven't, don't worry about it, because I'm going to sum it up for you.
Yeah, we'll have a brief plot synopsis, and also, please be aware, if you do want to watch this movie, we are going to spoil it.
Yes, 100%. So it's basically, the idea of the movie is that this kid he really loves Santa and the idea of Christmas, and he is in the unfortunate situation where he maybe sees Santa fondling his mother a little bit.
Oh, well, we've all been there.
Have we?
What?
I've never seen that.
There's that whole song about it.
Yeah, they didn't write that song about me.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, he sort of gets messed up by the whole experience, and the film is, I believe, as you put it, the film is following his descent into madness.
Yeah.
Right. Is that a good enough synopsis for you there, Liam?
Could you embellish a little bit on that madness?
Oh yeah, fair enough, that's a good point, because it's pretty important. So he, as an adult, has, I don't know if it's sort of implied that he's been following a group of kids for a while.
Yeah.
Because he's got a big old book that says the naughty list, and a big old book that says the good list.
Well, naughty or nice, it's a list that he has to check twice.
In fact, I don't know if you see him check it twice.
Rookie mistake.
But he follows around a bunch of children
Yep.
and writes down if they've been good or bad.
Yep.
And then he plans to dress up as Santa Claus
Yep.
and go and give the good ones toys and try to teach the bad ones a lesson.
Which is essentially what Christmas is all about, right?
Yeah, the way it seemed to me was that he basically discovered that Santa wasn't real at a young age and wanted Santa to be real so much that he took on that role.
Yeah, I mean, that's quite a nice thing to do.
Yeah, well, sort of. Except for the stalking children bit.
Yeah, but I mean, Santa's got to find out who's naughty and who's nice somehow, and if elves don't exist, he's going to have to do it himself, isn't he?
Yeah, I guess so.
I mean, don't you think it's a little bit creepy that Santa sends his elves out to do the spying and the perving?
No, Liam, because Santa's not real.
Right, but obviously to a child he is.
No, because the elves can be trusted. You can trust the elves.
Okay, I wasn't aware that that was a thing.
What you think Santa sends out? Santa sends out his elves, and you think the elves are not trustable?
Right. The fact that orcs were made from elves
Right.
shows that
You're
there's something
thinking of the
in
wrong
elves.
type of elf. Is the issue we have? Santa doesn't have an army of elves, Liam.
No, he has an army of potential Uruk-hai. It's terrifying.
Jesus, can I please read my notes?
Yeah, sorry. Dive into it.
So I've written shorter notes about Christmas Evil.
Okay.
So at the start of the film, you see like the scene that we were just talking about, where he sees his mum getting fondled.
Sorry, getting what?
Fondled?
Fondled.
Yes.
Okay.
It's like fondled, but with a little bit more hand action.
Could you describe the fondling?
There's a hand reaching up her leg,
Oh.
touching the top of her hold-ups,
Yep.
and doing a little bit of touching.
Just a little bit of touching.
Yeah, but before the fondling happens,
Yeah.
we see the kids. At the time, you don't realise it, but it's what the brother who will eventually turn into the insane dude is picturing happening. So he's imagining Santa coming in, doing the magic drop down the chimney, and then he polishes his shoes. So I've written, who leaves shoe polish out? Because it's very weird.
Yeah.
There's like a tray of things they've left for Santa, the classic milk and cookies, and apparently shoe polish.
Okay. I mean, for me, back when I was a kid, we used to leave carrots for the reindeer, but I guess shoe
Did
polish...
you leave out milk?
Yeah?
Did you leave out cookies?
Yeah.
Did you leave out alcohol?
I don't think so.
Because we did, and then as an adult I've come to realise that is because we want to drink alcohol.
Well, I guess your parents wanted to drink alcohol.
Yeah, but then when I was old enough to drink the alcohol, I would then steal the alcohol.
Oh, because obviously you had younger siblings, so I guess
Yes,
they
I
still
got
had
to carry it on for
Yeah.
a few years.
I did not have that pleasure.
No, you were just like, done. This
Yeah.
ends now.
Yeah.
Okay, so on with the notes. I then wrote, oh no, because we get to the sexually active part of the film.
Oh, well, you did ask for some boobies.
I did. This is my own fault.
Yeah. I mean, were there boobies?
No, there are no boobies in the entire film. You lied.
I'm very sorry about that.
That's fine. I forgive you.
Thank you.
Then I've written, what the fuck is this movie? I think I was just sort of confused at this point.
Okay.
So then I've written, so Guy gets fucked up from seeing Santa fondling Mummy, becomes a toy maker, and keeps a naughty or nice list. So
Yes.
that's just, we've sort of established that. The toy they are making is shit, because it is. They make a little plastic man on a motorcycle. It looks
What's
cheap
wrong?
and tacky.
Okay.
Creepy rage hum version of Santa Claus is coming to town. Because one of the guys at his work tricks him into working an extra shift, and he
Yeah.
finds out the guy was lying. And then he gets really angry and hums Santa Claus is coming to town, but furiously.
Could you do an example for us, please? That did sound furious.
Yeah, he was real angry.
Yeah.
Then I've written, did I just see the JJ?
Oh!
The answer to that question is no. I believe she was wearing underwear.
Did you have to rewind and double check?
No, I've just, as the film went on, I realised that would have been weird if they were showing vagina, because it doesn't happen anywhere else.
I'm not being funny, though. It could have happened. This is the sort of film where that stuff could happen.
Yeah, maybe I should have gone back and checked. I wasn't that into it.
Okay. It wasn't like Spider Baby.
No.
Okay.
Then I've written, Harry is super fucking creepy, because we see him doing some more creepy stalking of children. The toys he makes in his house are getting creepier, because whilst working at a toy factory, that's not enough for him, so he has to go home and also make toys.
Yeah.
Because, he is insane.
Yeah, well, that's sort of the point of the movie, right?
Yeah. He then goes to an office Christmas party, which I've written, Harry did not enjoy the office Christmas party, which is, he learns some things at that party. He learns that the company he works for isn't particularly nice, for example.
Okay.
That's when you sort of start to realise that Harry might be even more insane than he's letting on, because he's clearly like, I'm putting them on the naughty list in his head.
You've got to feel a little bit of sympathy for him, right?
Right. I deal with that, Liam, after the
Okay.
next point, which is, I've then written bags of dirt, because you just see him getting some bags of dirt.
Presumably to give to the naughty children,
You
right?
say presumably, that is what he does, but that is not a Christmas tradition I've ever heard of. I've heard of naughty kids getting coal, and I've heard the older one of, like, Santa and Krampus stealing naughty children.
Yeah, but this is a low-budget film, don't forget.
Dirt, they couldn't afford one piece of coal.
Nah.
Right. So then after that I've written, so far, apart from the stalking, he's not been that bad. Because at this point he's not done anything apart from the stalking.
Okay.
And this was the point where I was like, so I think my issue with this was I was expecting a horror film, or like a slasher. And we've got to this point and nothing much has happened.
And how far into the film are we at this point?
This is about halfway through, I think.
Okay, so probably, 45 minutes?
Yeah, 45 minutes.
Yeah.
So far I've just been watching a dude go mad, or be mad.
Yeah.
Either one.
Yeah.
After taking that note, very quickly after that, I've written, oh, okay, then he goes and stabs a toy soldier into a douchebag's eye and kills 2 other guys. So, right after I say he's not that bad, he does murder 3 people.
And that gives you the slasher element that you were hoping for?
Well, not really, because it's not like slasher film style murder.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? He's not like... Because I was fully ready for him to like go into these kids' houses and be like murdering.
Yeah.
Which happens once in the entire film, and he doesn't murder a kid.
Yeah, well, there's got to be limits, right?
Yeah, well, I wasn't expecting him to particularly kill kids, but do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, maybe go in the houses and kill all the bad people, but he does that once.
Okay.
He does, though, threaten a child, because I've written, let's not threaten the children, Harry Santa.
Yeah, but, if the child's being naughty...
Yeah, but it's like he goes to a party, and there are kids there, and he's having, like... Because it's sort of, the whole thing is, like, he's not accepted, but he's, like, really antisocial.
Yeah.
And then he goes to this party, and he's worried that they're going to pick on him, because when people pick on him, he kills them.
Yeah.
But he goes to this party, and then he, like, meets the kids, and he's having a good time.
Okay.
But then right at the end, he's like, don't forget, kids, if you're good, I will make sure you always have good presents. But if you're bad, I will... And you're like, whoa, Santa, chill out. I don't know. Just upset me a little bit.
That's fair enough.
Then he climbs up a building and tries to fit down the chimney.
Oh, bless
So I've
him.
written, is this going to end with him stuck in a chimney? Because there's about 20 minutes of film left, but at this point I was like, I'm ready for this film to just end now and be like, we've got 20 minutes to kill, let's just have Harry thinking about his life while stuck in a chimney.
Just reflecting on what went wrong.
Yeah, I genuinely was like, are they going to do some terrible, like, the police just find him, they're like, what have you done? And he's like, I'm in a chimney.
Help!
Then, there's a sort of side story that tries to get established, but they only do 2 scenes of, which is the police that are trying to find him.
Yeah.
So you get a scene where they, like, these 2 policemen come to the church where he killed the guys, and they're trying to get, like, they're, like, the cool cops, and one of them's smoking, and I was like, oh, okay, they're going to do, like, the police characters, and, but then one of them does say, all the Santa Claus mythology comes from New York, which I've then written next to that, check this, I didn't, but I'm pretty positive that New York didn't invent Santa.
No, that was the North Pole, right?
No, Liam. But I don't know, it just seemed like a very strange thing for them to put in this film. Like,
Yeah.
a guy being like, New York came up with everything about Santa Claus, and you're like, no, they didn't.
Okay. Well, it is the city that never sleeps.
Yeah, which means they'd see him all the time.
Yeah, he only comes if you're asleep, right?
Yeah, so he never goes to New York. That's actually a fact.
You've heard it here first.
Right, so at this point, I'm already sort of not enjoying this film, okay?
Sort of not enjoying this
Yeah,
film.
I mean, it's pretty slow. I'm not that into it. It's not what I expected. I don't know. I'm not enjoying it that much.
Okay.
And then the film decides to go a little bit insane.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, already, like, they've established that they're in the real world and real world stuff's happening, okay?
Yeah.
So then there's a group of kids. He's trying to run away at this point. He's told his brother he's going to kill himself, or heavily implied that he's going to kill himself.
Yeah.
His brother's all freaking out and sad. And then he goes down an alleyway and there's a family that see him, or a group of families. And the kids are all excited, but the parents realise that he's the murderer because it's been on the news and stuff. The parents are like freaking out and like, don't let him hurt our kids. And he's trying to be nice to the kids and not scare the kids. But then he doesn't kill anyone. He runs away with a knife. And then they start an angry mob that is full of people with flaming torches.
Very Frankenstein.
I have written, what the actual fuck, a Frankenstein's monster-style flaming torches hunt.
Yeah.
Right? My issue with that is, I don't know about you, Liam, but I at that point I looked around my room and I thought to myself, on short notice, if someone outside my flat went, good lord, it's a murderer, we need to hunt him with torches, I couldn't make a flaming torch.
Could you not?
I don't have enough stuff to make a flaming torch, no.
You need a broom.
You need a broom, you need a rag, you need something to light the rag with.
Yeah.
I don't have that.
Just
Not
3
to hand.
things.
Because they do it very quickly. There's about 50 people join this mob in like, it's literally like in the snap of a finger, they're there.
Okay.
Then I've just written in all caps, what the fuck? I don't remember what that's referring to, but I believe it's just my opinion of the film.
Right.
And then I've just written, movie wasn't great, like 2 out of 5.
Right. I think the what the fuck maybe was referring to the ending.
Oh, yes, it was. He drives off of a bridge or off of an incline of some kind,
Yeah.
and his van starts to fly, and then he says something about being Santa Claus.
Isn't that just a fantastic ending,
It's
everyone?
the worst ending of a movie.
Doesn't it just fill you with Christmas cheer?
No, it didn't. It just made me really annoyed that they were like, we clearly don't know how to end this film. Let's make him fly away in a van.
No, it's a beautiful ending because...
Why?
Right at the end, we finally get to see a glimpse into how he sees things. Like, we're always viewing him like from the outside. We're just seeing this guy just slowly unravel. And then right at the end, we get to experience what he's experiencing, and it is joyous.
Right. But except you say that, but throughout the movie, he doesn't believe he's Santa.
Yeah, and then at the end, right, he finally accepts that he is.
So you think the film was about a man who is Santa coming to terms with the fact that he's Santa Claus?
Yeah.
Right. Maybe that's why I didn't enjoy it, Liam.
What I also think it does really well
Yeah.
is it highlights how absurd certain elements of Santa Claus are, like how certain elements of Santa Claus is, and how...
No, it's how certain elements of Santa Claus are.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. How certain elements of Santa Claus are, and we willingly perpetuate that onto children, and we don't stop and think, hang on a second, this is weird. And then what the movie does is it goes, right, stop and actually think about what you're telling children. It is bonkers.
No, but you're giving the film way too much credit. Because while I get what you're saying, I don't think they hit the nail on the head or solved a problem. The film is saying that it's weird, and it is, if it's a normal person. But because the Santa Claus myth is about a mythological dude who is genuinely doing it for the good reason. The only reason it's creepy in the film is because it's a normal guy who's not allowed to do that. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Santa, it's established that he does that, and that is it's okay because he's not got creepy intentions. Whereas this is a guy who you don't know doesn't have creepy intentions, and goes on to prove that in fact he is quite creepy.
But he never does anything bad to children, does he?
He goes into one child's house and murders their parent.
Right.
He also goes into another... he also scares another child by hiding in their bushes, and when the kid comes over to the bush, reaching out to grab them, and the kid is like, a monster just tried to grab me, and his mum then slaps him in the face. He also watches one of the children, leaves mud smeared all over their wall to show them that he was there. So, I don't know, Liam, you could in fact say that he does some bad stuff to children.
Okay, well, maybe they shouldn't have been naughty.
I think the reason the kid's naughty as well is that he watches porn.
Oh, right. Which ties very nicely into the 80s horror theme of sex is bad.
Yes, to be fair, there was one of the guys he kills does have sex with his wife earlier in the movie, and I was like, I know that means this dude dies.
Yeah. So, okay, I think it's fair to say it didn't fill you with Christmas cheer in the way I was hoping it would.
No, it did not, Liam.
What would you give it out of 5?
I wrote 2 out of 5, and I'm going to stick with that, Liam. It was a 2 out of 5 movie at best.
At best.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed. I really liked that movie.
Yeah, I just don't get it. Like, maybe if I'd watched it in a different mindset, or I don't know. Maybe there's some way that I like this film, but it's just not the way I saw it.
Okay. Is it maybe that it just wasn't quite what you were expecting?
Possibly, but even then, I don't know. Because it sort of tries to walk the line between, like, slasher movie and psychological horror. Maybe not even a psychological horror, just a psychological film.
No, I'd agree with that, because it never quite commits to one or the other of those.
No, it doesn't. And I don't think I like that.
Okay, you like your films to be cut and dry. It is definitely
I like stuff
this.
that's interesting and different. I don't like it when it's not new stuff. It's just 2 types of film that they've merged together and not picked one.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, I hope next time I can do better.
I'm sure you will. But Liam, the film I gave you this week, Liam,
Yes.
was The Santa Claus.
It was.
Which is quite different to the film you gave me.
Well, I mean, if we think about it, Nerd on Nerd, right, and especially Culture Swap, is all about broadening the other person's awareness of certain topics,
Yes.
right? So, for example, last week, I wasn't particularly aware of John Dies at the end. You weren't aware of Spider Baby. By the end of that episode, we both had a lot more awareness.
Yeah.
So you gave me The Santa Claus.
Yes, a children's classic from when I was a boy.
Yes, which came out in 94.
Yep.
I'm going to say I went above and beyond this week.
You did. And I'm not necessarily best impressed with the fact that you went above and beyond.
I'm sorry, but I want this podcast to do well, and I'm going to do what I can.
Right. I don't think what you've done is going to help the podcast.
Well, we'll see, because not only did I watch The Santa Claus, I also watched The Santa Claus 2. And then I watched The Santa Claus 3, The Escape Clause. Now, you gave me The Santa Claus, and that's what I'm going to predominantly talk about, but I would like to mention the sequels at the end.
That's fine. I'll allow it.
So, the reason why I got all three, by the way, is because I found a really nice Blu-ray box set of them.
When did that arrive, Liam?
Yesterday.
Right.
So, I had a fun night last night.
What was your opinion of the Santa Claus?
Well, first, before we even get into the movie, I put the disc into my Blu-ray player, and I was a little bit concerned because there was a very strange advert at the start where it was using scenes from Pinocchio. Have you seen Pinocchio?
The original Disney film?
Yes.
Yeah.
The classic. Do you remember the bit where it goes quite dark and he sort of turns into an ass, is it?
Yeah, he turns into a donkey.
Yeah, he turns into a donkey, and there's that scene where there's people smoking and playing snooker.
Yeah.
Right, there's scenes for that, and then a warning about secondhand smoke and a link to a website, becomeanx.org.
Did you go on the website?
I did not.
You should have.
I just thought it was weird that we're starting this lovely Christmas classic with a warning about smoking and quitting smoking because secondhand smoke affects children, and I'm thinking, who are you targeting here? Because surely this is a movie for kids. They don't have to worry about smoking, and I'm not being funny. I think most adults, if they were to get a kid a Blu-ray like the Santa Claus, they'd plonk him in front of the TV, stick it in, and then fuck off and do something adult.
Yep, that's fair.
So that just confused me. Before we even started the movie, I was like, what's going on? Then the movie starts. And I have to say, much to my surprisement...
That's not a word, but go for it. I like it.
I actually didn't mind it.
Yeah?
Yeah, after John dies at the end last week, I was dubious.
What?
And
Fuck
right,
off.
no, and the thing is, when you recommended this to me last week, you didn't do it in a way that was like, you're definitely going to like this. You did it in a way that was like, I've kind of run out of things to suggest, and this is just the best I can do.
No, that's not true at all. I didn't say I'd run out of things to suggest.
Okay, no, alright,
We were specifically finding Christmas films.
Yes.
I said, I think it's really hard to find a Christmas film that you haven't seen.
Yes.
And then, so I found one that I liked as a kid, and then it turned out you hadn't seen it.
Yeah, but you didn't sell it to me in a way that was like, I'm confident you're going to like this.
I don't want to jade you to these films before you see them.
And that's fair enough. And like I said, I was pleasantly surprised. You lowered my expectations, and they were met, if not exceeded.
So give the listeners who haven't seen The Santa Claus, give them a brief synopsis of what happens.
Alright, here we go, guys. It's Christmas. We've got Tim Allen, and he's divorced, got an annoying little kid. On Christmas Eve, Santa Claus lands on their roof, falls off it, disappears magically, and then... but leaves his clothes behind, obviously. Tim Allen puts on the Santa jacket and basically becomes Santa Claus. That's the synopsis in a nutshell, right?
Yeah. That's what I remember. Does he not kill Santa Claus? I thought it was his fault that Santa fell off the roof.
Right, he hears them on the roof, he comes out and he says, hey you, and that startles Santa,
right,
and he falls off the roof. So I wouldn't say, I think you've been watching too much Christmas Evil, he doesn't kill Santa Claus.
He actively murdered Santa Claus, right?
Not quite, but...
at the very least, manslaughter.
Well, don't know if I'd agree with that.
Alright.
The movie is very Christmassy, okay?
Yeah. Sorry, you have to... Did you expect me to reply? Yeah. Alright, sorry, I'll reply better next time.
Okay. One thing that I wasn't sure about with the movie is the timeline. By the end, it became quite clear that it took place over the space of a year, but when you're watching it, I actually spent a little bit of time trying to figure out when all these things were happening, because, like, you had the whole becoming Santa Claus and flying in the sleigh and delivering presents, and then literally it felt like the next day the kid was at school talking about that.
Right, yeah.
So the timeline wasn't best clear, but that's okay. Tim Allen is the main character. He's okay. I didn't think great things, but I also didn't hate him.
Yeah.
His kid, who was played by Eric Lloyd, He was also in Dunstan Checks In, you know.
I've never seen Dunstan Checks In.
Oh my god. Well, that has to be rectified at some point because it is delightful. But a kid in a... it's easily been 15 plus years since I've seen it.
Yeah.
If I remember rightly, it's a kid in a hotel with a monkey.
Oh, I haven't seen it, but I know what film you're talking about.
Yeah, Dunstan Checks In.
Okay.
Anyway, so Eric Lloyd plays Tim Allen's kid, and I always have issues with children in film.
Yeah.
They very rarely are good. And the thing is, I'd say predominantly children are cast in films in quite cutesy, oh, I'm adorable sort of roles, and that just makes me feel a little bit sick in my mouth. So...
yeah, fair enough.
He was mostly annoying, but he also... when he wasn't on screen, I could tolerate it.
Okay, good, right. So far you've said Tim Allen was alright, and the kid was rubbish. So what did you enjoy about this movie, Liam?
What I did like, Judge Reinhold played Tim Allen's ex-wife's new partner.
Okay, I sort of vaguely remember.
He's like a douchebag psychologist, and I liked him.
Yep.
He was good. And I also want to shout out the costume department, because they did a brilliant job at finding the most hideous sweaters for this guy to wear.
Are they that bad?
Oh, honestly, and I watched it in high definition, so it was like assaulting my eyes, but in a way that I loved.
Nice.
So that was good. So Tim Allen works at a toy company before he becomes the Santa Claus, and then once he puts on the suit, he kind of gets in the sleigh and is flown to the North Pole, where he discovers all of the elves that make the toys. He meets Bernard, the head elf, who's played by David Krumholtz.
Okay.
Who you will recognise from other movies, but I couldn't name you a single one of them. It's just, I saw him, and I was like, mate, I know your face.
Yeah. One of those
cheeky
people.
little elf. Yeah, exactly. And we see all of these little elves, and we find out that it's the Santa Claus with an E at the end, because when he puts on that jacket, he basically has somehow unwittingly signed a contract that says he's now the new Santa, and he has to kind of give his life up. Essentially.
Really positive way of looking at it, Liam.
But, I mean, it's not wrong.
No, true.
He also starts putting on weight and growing a big beard, and his hair goes white, and he starts resembling Santa Claus. And this is what I liked about the movie, okay? And I don't know if you're necessarily going to agree with this, but to me, it always felt like it was one step away from becoming a horror film.
Really?
Honestly, right? So, towards the start of the film, you've got this weird, like, psychological element where all of the adults are really concerned because this kid completely believes that his dad is Santa Claus, and Tim Allen wakes up the next day convinced it was all a dream. So there's this kid who's like, my dad is Santa Claus, and all of the adults are like, this is not good. There are issues with this child here which need to be addressed. And the fact that obviously the stepfather, although I don't know if they're technically married, but the stepfather figure, he's a psychologist, so he's getting involved. Then you've got Tim Allen putting on the weight and growing the beard, so we've got some body horror there, because if you actually think about it, he says at one point he gains 40 pounds overnight. He also shaves in the morning, and by the afternoon, he's got like a full Father Christmas beard.
Yeah.
And all of this is also tying into this kid who's like, my dad's Santa Claus. And then, like, the kid's mum and the stepfather are blaming Tim Allen's character, saying, you know, you're not helping him get away from this ridiculous fantasy that he's living in.
Couldn't Tim Allen have just proved that it was happening?
I did wonder that while I was watching.
By shaving in front of them and being like, look, seriously, I've shaved.
Yeah, there is literally a little bit later on, as he really starts becoming Santa Claus, a scene where he shaves in front of a mirror, and then the beard, literally, like, 5 seconds later, just magically grows.
Yes, I remember that scene.
Yeah. He also goes to the doctor and, you know, does some running on a treadmill, and the doctor's puzzled as to why he's putting on all this weight. He also picks up a taste for milk and cookies and, you know, the typical things that you would expect Santa Claus to eat.
Shoe polish.
Well, maybe not. But that's the other adults in his life. That's what they think is contributing to his weight gain. Yeah. So, yeah, to me, always just one step away. There's also a scene where elves kind of attack. So the next year, Tim Allen has embraced that he's Santa Claus. The kid's mum and stepfather have got the police involved because they're really worried. They've put a restraining order on him. So it gets a little bit serious at times.
Yeah,
It's not.
that's not light.
It's not a light-hearted romp, shall we say? Not like what I gave you.
Oh, yeah.
But, there's a scene where there's these flying elves, and it's ELFS, and I can't remember what it stands for now, but it was fucking ridiculous. It was, in S.H.I.E.L.D., when it's like, what does that mean? And he says, it means someone really wanted it to spell shield.
Does it feel like that?
It felt exactly like that. So there's a scene where essentially Tim Allen gets arrested and the elves fly and break him out of prison.
Oh, okay.
And there's a cop, right, who suddenly gets surrounded by these children who then tie him up in kind of like wrapping paper sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And they stick a donut in his mouth. Again, if that was to actually happen, quite scary.
Yeah.
We are always brushing up to the edge of horror where if someone like me were to come along and just push this movie a little bit more in that direction, it would be terrifying.
Yeah, I guess so.
And that's kind of why I liked it. Now, there was some dodgy CGI, I'm going to be honest. It was what, early 90s?
Yeah.
So we can't expect it to be great. And what was disappointing is there was some pretty poor animatronics for one of the reindeers. One thing I didn't quite get, Comet seems to be the main reindeer in this one. Where's Rudolph?
Well, to be fair, Rudolph shouldn't be the main reindeer.
Why not?
He's not the main reindeer. Even in the song, he's not the main reindeer.
He leads the way.
No, he leads the way when it's foggy. Comet has been dealing with that for years, Liam. That reindeer has been Santa's most faithful servant is the wrong word for a reindeer.
Accomplice? Steed.
And then Rudolph comes along, because it's foggy, and he's like, look, my red nose. I don't know if you've shone a red light in a fog, Liam. Not that fucking great, actually. But Rudolph comes along and he's like, I'm going to lead the way.
It's pretty good if you want other people to see you.
Yeah, that's not what Santa wants. That is the exact opposite of what Santa wants.
Yeah. Well, anyway, this addresses that then, because Rudolph doesn't really get a mention. All about Comet.
Good job, Santa Claus.
Yeah. There is one scene I would like to just briefly mention.
Are there boobs?
There are not boobs.
Okay, good.
Unfortunately, the Santa Claus was devoid of boobs.
Sorry, mate.
I'm okay with that. There was one scene, and I was watching it, and I was just thinking, this must have been horrendously cringy for Tim Allen to act in.
Okay.
So, he gets to the North Pole, he's being taught all of these things he needs to know about being Santa. There's a little elf called Judy. Now, all the elves in this film are played by children,
Right.
but within, the mythology of the film, the elves are like hundreds of years old, okay?
Does she hit on him?
She thinks he's hitting on her when he makes a comment and she responds with, I'm sorry, I'm seeing someone in wrapping. And I just couldn't help but think how awkward that must have been for Tim Allen to perform.
Well, I'm sure the man's a professional, Liam.
You couldn't have told it was awkward for him. He nailed that scene. But I was watching it just feeling mortified for him.
Yeah.
I would also like to point out, Bernard, the main elf, bloody awesome. Fantastic.
Yeah, I don't remember the elves particularly.
No, and so the movie all ends, right, with everyone just kind of accepting that Tim Allen is now Santa Claus.
Yes.
And there's not really a good moment where this happens. It just kind of happens quite suddenly.
Everyone just sort of goes, oh, he's Santa.
Yeah, the kid has always believed, right? And the mum just... It's Christmas Eve, he's just broken out of prison, he's gone back to the kid, and the mum just looks at him and suddenly is like, you are Santa Claus. Now, there's a little bit that happens earlier on where she's talking to her new partner and they're talking about when they stop believing in Santa Claus.
Yeah.
And she said she wanted this hot date game, but she never got it, and that's when she knew, and she was aged like, I don't know, 8 or 12 or something. And the dickhead psychologist, Judge Reinhold, who I loved, was saying he stopped believing age 3 when there was like a whistle that he wanted. It was some whistle thing. So I was expecting it to play in, oh, they're going to finally believe Tim Allen is Santa Claus when he gives them these gifts.
Yeah, that is what I was just thinking you were going to say.
Yeah. Now, he does give them the gifts, but only after they believed.
Oh, right. So they actually have to believe before...
Yeah, it was just really weird, so I was like, right, once they get those gifts, then they're going to believe? Nope, they just look at him, and the mum's like, you are Santa Claus. He's like, yeah, told you. And
that is weird.
A little bit later, here's a gift. He gets up in the sleigh, starts to fly off, flies over and drops the gift down for him. Like, well done for believing in me. Here's your reward. And one of the things I did like is the whole, I guess, theme of the movie maybe is seeing isn't believing. Believing is seeing.
What do you mean by that, Liam?
So, you shouldn't have to see Santa Claus to believe he's there. You should believe in him, and then you'll see that he's there.
Okay.
Right? And there's a brilliant scene between the kid and the psychologist, right? Where the psychologist is saying something along the lines of, have you ever seen Santa Claus? And the kid is like, yeah. And the psychologist is like, that's mental. And then the kid is like, have you ever seen $1 million? The psychologist is like, no. He's like, well, just because you haven't seen it doesn't mean it's not there, does it?
Well, that's a false correlation, that, but...
It's a pretty smart point he made, you know?
It's really not.
I probably didn't do that scene justice and got it a little bit wrong because I watched 3 fucking Santa Claus movies last night.
Yeah, that's your own fault.
No.
What do you mean, no?
I wanted this Christmas special episode to be full of Christmas cheer, and I watched the Santa Claus, and I thought, you know what? If I don't watch the Santa Claus 2 right now, I'm never going to watch it. So,
Jesus.
Fucking stuck the Santa Claus 2 in, didn't I?
Alright, well, before you start talking about the Santa Claus 2...
Yes.
I'm going to request that you talk about them fucking quick. I don't want you to have a whole nother full-length discussion about each of these movies.
I don't want to do that either. Before we get onto that, ask me what my score was for Santa Claus. Why not?
How many baubles did you give it out of 5?
I think it's a solid 3 out of 5.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's pretty good. Above half.
Maybe 2.5.
So dead on half. You were completely indifferent to the film.
Ask me again. I wasn't indifferent. Yeah, let's say 3.
Alright.
It's fucking Christmas. Let's say 3.
Let's say 5, Liam. It's Christmas.
No, that's Die Hard.
That's true, yeah.
Die Hard is a solid 5-star Christmas movie.
Yeah.
Right, so that was the Santa Claus. I then watched the Santa Claus 2. So, very quickly, what I liked, majority of the main cast returned. Judy the elf, you know, the one that hit on Tim Allen, she didn't return. But Bernard was back, same kid actor was back, and bear in mind, Santa Claus 2 was, I think, like a good 5 years after the first Santa Claus. So I was a bit worried, like, oh, are they going to recast the kid as another little shit kid? Nah, he came back as sort of a teenager. And the storyline to the Santa Claus 2 was actually really interesting. So Tim Allen's been Santa Claus for a while now, I think for 8 years. His kid this year is actually on the naughty list. Uh-oh. And there's a little caveat in the contract. If Santa doesn't find a wife, he stops being Santa Claus.
Yep, that's... Of course, Liam. Why not?
I mean, after 8 years, you should really be tying that shit down.
I like that it gives it that much time as well in the contract.
Yeah.
Understandably, he's going to be busy for the first 7, but come on, year 8.
Year 8, he really needs to... And so he's given 28 days to find a wife. So we've got majority of the cast return, new cast members. We've got Elizabeth Mitchell, who you might know as... did you ever watch Lost?
Yeah.
She was Juliet in Lost.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I was looking at her and I was like, I recognise your cheeky little face. Looked her up. Bam. Lost. Knew I knew her. And she played the kid's principal at the public school.
Oh, okay.
Bit of a hard ass, but you know, as soon as you see her and as soon as you see Tim Allen and her having a little verbal sparring, you're like, right, they're getting it on by the end of the movie. Spoilers, that happens.
Yep, fair enough.
We've got a new number 2 elf called Curtis, played by Spencer Breslin.
Do I know him?
It'll play into the Santa Claus 3.
Okay.
Just wanted to lay down that little nugget, little cliffhanger there.
Nice.
And we've got Lillian Mummy, who played Lucy. So his ex-wife and her new partner have a little ginger kid.
Oh, okay.
She's annoying as fuck, like all children are. Anyway, just a couple of points I'd like to make about the Santa Claus 2. One, like I said before, I do like what they did with the story. I like that this kid's getting a bit older. He still obviously believes in Santa Claus because he has proof, but he's also dealing with the fact that he can never tell people what his dad actually does for a living. Yeah,
what does he tell them that his dad does?
I think he just lies and says he works in toys. Well, not really a lie, but he says he works in toys.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. So there's a scene where the elves play American football up in the North Pole.
Right.
Which I thought was just mental. Like, it's the North Pole, and I get it's an American movie, but I don't picture anything in the North Pole playing American football, let alone little childlike elves. So that was weird. Again, there was a lot of awkward exposition in it. So Bernard gives Tim Allen a watch, and he's like, right, This watch, 1, tells you how long you got to find a wife, and 2, tells you how much magic you can use, and if that gets to 0, you can't come back to the North Pole. And it's like, right, thanks for all the exposition, Bernard.
Yeah, fair enough.
Really liked you in the last movie. I still like you, but come on. And obviously, we've got this issue. 28 days till Christmas. Santa Claus can't be in 2 places at once. He can't be in the North Pole making all the toys and off looking for a wife, can he now?
Well, that's all right, because the elves make the toys.
Well, he has to oversee them, because otherwise they'd probably slack.
Why can't they trust Bernard?
I mean, I honestly don't know. It's not addressed. Also, I was thinking, and this ties into the first movie as well, genius way to get around child labour laws.
Well, they're not children.
No, but they clearly are.
No, but they're not. You said they were like over 100 years old.
Well, yeah, right. In the film, they're elves, but in real life, they're children.
Right.
Did you get that?
Are you right? So wait, let me just quickly ask something. Are you trying to imply that the people that made the Santa Claus and the Santa Claus 2 and 3 were avoiding child labour laws by telling actual people that the children they had hired were elves?
I'm not saying for sure that's what they did. I'm just saying if they were smart, that's what they would have done.
Right. Okay.
Tim Allen, much preferred in the second movie. He was awesome, and he super rocks a turtleneck, which
Okay.
isn't something you can say about most actors.
No, that's true.
So one of the issues is, as he's looking for a wife, and he's got these 28 days, which they keep telling you, something's happening called the desantification process. So you know in the first movie, where I said there's a bit of a body horror as he starts putting on all the weight and growing all the hair?
Yep.
This one, exact opposite happens. He starts losing the weight and losing the beard.
Oh no.
Now, obviously, he likes being Santa, so that's now an issue.
You can't make him happy, can you?
Oh, honestly, there's no pleasing some people. And like I was saying, so their genius tactic to have 2 Santas in the same place, they put him through this new toy-making machine thing that Curtis, the number 2 elf, has come up with, that basically creates a duplicate toy Santa.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know if you're going to remember this, but the toy Santa basically becomes an evil dictator.
I do vaguely remember. As soon as you said a toy Santa clone, I was like, I remember this.
Yeah, and he makes all of the elves his bitch and just works them to the bone. It's just bonkers. I'm just watching it, and he's like dressed like a dictator. He's creating an army of giant toy soldiers. And again, I'm like, this could easily slip into horror territory here. It's mental.
It sounds slightly insane.
It is. So Eric Lloyd, who returns, but as older, he's the one that's on the naughty list now. Still a shit, going around graffiti and things. Oh, I just couldn't fucking stand him. I really couldn't. But the principal, who, spoilers, Tim Allen ends up getting with, she's awesome.
Yeah?
She is fantastic. This movie has better CGI. Not an improvement on the first movie, but I like that they tried to do something different. And obviously it all ends happily ever after. Tim Allen and the principal get married. There's some emotion. There's some tears. We all loved it. Moving on. We had the Santa Claus 3, the escape clause. Now, remember how I was saying Spencer Breslin was in Santa Claus 2?
Yep.
He returns in Santa Claus 3, and he brings his sister along for a small little minor role. You may have heard of her, Abigail Breslin.
I have not.
Fuck's sake. She is the
Sorry.
main character in Little Miss Sunshine.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Have you seen that?
Yeah.
She's fantastic, right?
Yeah, she's a good actress.
She is one of the few child actresses that I can stand.
Yeah.
And even in this, she's given like 2 scenes, but she, like, as soon as I saw it, I was like, that's fucking Abigail Breslin. We're in good hands here.
Fair enough.
So she's new. We have Martin Short has joined the cast as Jack Frost.
Right, I have seen the Santa Claus 3.
Yeah, it's not great. And we've got Alan Arkin as the in-laws, because obviously in the last movie he got married, so now he's got to deal with the in-laws. So we've got Alan Arkin as the father-in-law and Anne Margaret as the mother-in-law. I'm going to be honest, I like Alan Arkin. He was really good. He does some really good sort of dry deadpan delivery. So the plot, very briefly, Jack Frost hates being a second fiddle and kind of not really being taken seriously. So he decides to become the Santa Claus, and how he does that, basically,
You have to murder Santa, right?
sort of. There's an escape clause in the contract where, right, there's a weird mythological element to this where all of different Santa Clauses have their own snow globes.
Okay.
And if you're Santa Claus and you hold your own snow globe and you say, I wish I was never Santa Claus at all, then you stop being Santa.
Oh, man.
It's really convoluted and bloody stupid, but basically Jack Frost tricks him
Yep.
into doing that. And what I did like, we go back 12 years to when the first movie happened, and when Tim Allen shouts out, "Oi, up there," and the Santa Claus falls down, and then we actually see Jack Frost become Santa Claus for a little while, and then we jump 12 years into present time, And Tim Allen's like, I don't know what to do. I'm not Santa Claus anymore, and my life is horrible because I've lost touch with my family.
Right, so he remembers being Santa Claus.
Yes.
Okay.
But no one else does.
Yeah.
And what Martin Short as Jack Frost has done is he's turned the North Pole into an amusement park. So now, if you want Christmas, you go to the North Pole.
So people now know Santa exists?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
So Martin Short is fantastic as the villain. Do you remember us saying there's a little ginger girl in the last one?
Yep.
She comes back, still annoying as fuck, and there's a bit early on, right? So Tim Allen's still Santa Claus. She gives him a hug. She just thinks he's her uncle. She doesn't know he's Santa Claus.
Yeah.
She gives him a hug, and he says, "You give the warmest hugs, Lucy." And then you just spend the rest of the movie just waiting for her to hug someone, probably Jack Frost.
Oh, and warm them up.
Yeah.
Does that happen?
Yeah.
Oh dear.
He freezes her parents, and then she gives him a hug at the end and warms him up, and that stops her parents being frozen.
Terrible.
It wasn't good. And also, right, so in this movie, Mrs. Claus is pregnant, and at the end she gives birth, and the movie like ends on the freeze frame of the baby, and he's just smirking really creepily at the camera.
Is he Jack Frost?
He could be. I don't think that the movie was trying to imply that Mrs. Claus was getting a bit of, oh, how's your father with Jack Frost while Santa Claus was busy. But if that's what you want to take away from the movie...
I mean, that's what I'm going to take away from you telling me about the movie.
That's fair. Couple of issues with the movie. It obviously wasn't as good as the first two, obviously.
Yep.
For me, you don't get enough of Tim Allen. And he's the star of these, but once he puts on the Father Christmas costume and makeup and all that, he's pretty much unrecognisable.
Yeah, he just looks like Santa.
Exactly, and I like seeing his face.
That's fair.
So it's not until I think like an hour into the movie when Jack Frost's nefarious plan comes to light, and Tim Allen goes back to being Tim Allen. So we have like a solid hour where it's just Santa Claus, not really Tim Allen.
Yeah.
And then we only have like a good 10 minutes before Tim Allen fixes everything and stops being Tim Allen and becomes Santa Claus again.
Oh right, wow, that's...
So it's not enough Tim Allen for me.
That's fair.
The movie ends with some outtakes, which was quite funny. Like that they play over the credits.
Yeah.
Bernard, not in this movie.
He was your favourite character.
He was one of them. So, disappointed. And do you remember I was saying in the last movie that we had Curtis as the number 2 elf?
Yep.
He's now the number 1 elf. But obviously, the kid playing him has aged quite significantly between the two movies, and now he just looks weird.
Fair enough.
One of my favourite things about the movie, though, and please tell me if I'm right here, I think it's being a bit xenophobic. Obviously, Santa Claus doesn't want the in-laws to know he's Santa Claus, so he makes the North Pole look like Canada, gets all the elves to dress up in like Canadian hoodies, and when they arrive, they were like, "Welcome to Canada," eh? Is that a bit xenophobic?
No, not particularly.
It is like playing on the stereotypes and
it's definitely
enforcing
playing
them.
on the stereotypes of Canada, but it's not xenophobic.
Okay,
Xenophobic would be if they were like, and then a Canadian actually shows up and he's like, look at all the maple syrup. That would have been xenophobic.
Right, fair enough. That sounds like a lot like the reindeers in these movies.
Thank you, I was being Comet.
Or at least you weren't being Chet.
Oh, I remember that. What's...
Chet is in the Santa Claus 2. He's a new reindeer. Oh, just don't bother. He's a bloody waste of time. He
I
is.
remember that, Jesus.
Yeah. So yeah, I quite liked the whole let's pretend this is Canada. And sort of Alan Arkin gets to play a bit dim, and he's like, what's going on? Why are they all little? And Tim Allen's just like, that's how they are in Canada.
Oh, that bit might be xenophobic.
That does happen, so yeah, I did wonder. But yeah, so overall, I did end my night feeling quite Christmassy after watching three
I'm
Santa
super
Claus
glad,
movies.
because you very clearly disobeyed rules of Sort My Culture, so I hope you finish tonight looking back on what you've done and regretting it.
No, I feel like I went above and beyond, and
Yes,
I think our listeners are going to be, 1, impressed with my dedication, and 2, kind of glad that they now don't have to watch the 3 Santa Claus movies.
Is that so? You think that the listeners that took issue last week with me taking too long are going to be happy because I took less time, but you took longer?
Yeah, but
Right.
you know.
Okay. No, just wanted to check that that's what you thought. We'll see. Let us know, listeners, when you listen to this, if Liam's failed to cut it down to a reasonable length, how annoyed you are that he watched 3 films instead of 1.
It's Christmas!
Oh dear.
If you can't watch 3 Christmas films at Christmas, when can you?
You can, just don't talk about them on the podcast.
I think you're just jealous.
I'm really not.
Well,
I mean, I wish you'd found a really good Christmas film for me.
Well, next year. I can promise you, unequivocally, next year, the Christmas movie I will recommend you will have boobies.
I'm going to hold you to that.
Yeah, as long as you don't watch the Christmas movie I'm going to recommend you next year between now and then.
Or if I haven't already seen it.
You haven't seen it.
How do you know?
I know you haven't seen it.
How do you know?
Because I know you.
I might have seen it.
You haven't seen it.
Okay.
You're now going to spend the next year watching as many Christmas-themed movies
Just to
as you
try
can.
and ruin it for you.
Yeah, so next year you'll be like, I did see it.
I will, yeah.
So yeah, that was the Santa Claus trilogy.
Good.
I guess we just wrap shit up now, don't we?
Yeah, final thoughts.
Like a present.
Ahoy!
Final thoughts.
My final thoughts, Liam.
I can guess. Are they? I wish you hadn't watched and talked about 3 movies.
Quite possibly.
It's Christmas. This episode can be a bit bigger.
Can it?
Yeah, right. How good is it when you're expecting a present under the tree and you look and it's bigger than you were expecting it to be?
Yeah, but how terrible is it? How terrible is it when you say to your parents, I really don't like Polly Pocket, and they buy you 3 Polly Pockets?
No one said that to me.
My final thoughts for this week, Liam, are that I really wish you hadn't watched 3 films, and you're a bit of a dick.
My final thoughts are you're jealous, and also Zac Efron, hit me up. Listen to the end of the podcast to find out how to contact us. So, I think we've done enough movies now.
Yeah, we might have, Liam.
I mean, I've done 4.
Yeah, that's too many.
Yeah, so next time, what do you say we mix things up a little bit?
Yeah?
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
I'm thinking, how about a graphic novel?
I'm in. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Right. I am going to recommend to you something that I kind of enjoyed, but I'm curious for your thoughts. I don't think you're necessarily going to enjoy this. I'm trying to get your expectations right because I don't want another Christmas Evil.
Yep, fair enough. So I might not enjoy this one.
No. It is, however, written by Alan Moore.
Okay, Alan Moore's pretty good.
Co-written by him, I guess. It's called Superman, Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow.
Cool.
So that's your comic book to read by next episode, which will be in the new year.
Yep, yeah, we're having a little bit of extra in between the episodes over Christmas.
Listeners, that gives you even more time to read what we're going to say and let us know what you thought of it.
Yeah.
Because it would be delightful, wouldn't it, at the end of the show to have a little correspondence where we read out what people have been saying?
It would be really good, but our listeners don't love us enough.
So maybe you guys out there could fix that. Love us more. It's Christmas after all. Come on. That's all I want under my tree. Your love.
So cheesy.
So what are you going to recommend for me?
The graphic novel I'm recommending for you, Liam, is called Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman. And I really like this, so I'm kind of hoping you do, but I know that you aren't his biggest fan.
I've only read the first volume of Sandman from his, and I mean, I've heard nothing but good about Sandman, and it really didn't do much for me, so...
Yeah, I'm hoping that, because this is all one story wrapped up in one graphic novel, so I'm hoping that will be more to your liking.
Guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
Should we end that more positively?
What was wrong with that?
Oh, okay, we'll just leave it at that then.
Thanks for listening to the Nerd on Nerd Christmas special. If you want to get in contact with us, you can tweet us at NerdOnNerd or email us at nerdonnerdpod@gmail.com. Oh, also, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to all, and to all, a good night.
Bye.
Ho, 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 ho. Also, have a happy new year.
Just stop adding on more goodbyes to the fans.
We'll see you next year.
And to all the Jewish fans out there, Happy Hanukkah.
Don't drink and drive.